Desdemona, daughter of Brabantio, wife of Othello, was murdered in her bedchamber, along with her husband Othello. How did this happen? What circumstances led to these events? You have to stay with us to find out on this episode of Shakespearial. Who was Desdemona? She was the daughter of a Venetian senator and the wife of Othello. The two had actually been dating in secret and even got married in secret. She could be described as a loving wife, one who would do anything for her husband. That includes giving her life to him, because her husband Othello was the one who murdered her. Who was Othello? He was a high-ranking member of the Venetian military and was renowned as a soldier and a leader. At the time of these events, he had been asked by the Duke of Venice to head to Cyprus to defend against the Turks. Accompanying him was his lieutenant Cassio and Iago, and of course his wife Desdemona. What happened in Cyprus that led to Othello murdering his wife? That's what we're going to find out today. To find out what truly happened, we have to go back to the beginning, when Othello and company arrived in Cyprus. While they were sent to defend against the Turks, as luck will have it, the Turkish fleet was wiped out by a storm, so to celebrate their victory, they held a party, drinking and merriment around. However, during this party, the Lieutenant Cassio got into a fight with a man we'll mention later. For now, Cassio faces the consequences of his actions, and he is stripped of his title as lieutenant. This matters because Cassio went to Desdemona to ask Othello to give him his job back. Desdemona agreed and asked her husband to give him his job back. However, he was perverse to the idea. Right here, we see the first splinter in their relationship. The fact that Desdemona would be helping out Cassio. She would have no reason to do that, or at least that's how Othello must have looked at it. From here, Othello is seen spending more time with Iago, and while previously stated he was a lieutenant, it was during this time that he got promoted, filling Cassio's vacant position. On the day Othello was recalled back to Venice, that very same night, he decided to kill his wife. Right before those events, however, Cassio was attacked and injured in the leg. His assailant, Rodrigo, the same man he fought earlier, is subsequently killed by Iago. Afterwards, they both went to see Othello and found Desdemona already dead. So why is it that only after one or two interactions with Cassio did Othello decide to murder his wife? It's not like he's Leontes. Well, there's one other detail, one other murder that took place that night, also in Desdemona's bedchambers, that blows this case wide open. That is of Iago's wife, Emilia. Iago murdered her right after Othello killed his own wife, and that is because she knew the truth. While all these events were taking place, Iago was at work behind the scenes, manipulating others to his whim, to do what he wanted. It started simply enough, with Iago bringing Rodrigo to Cyprus and tricking him and Cassio into fighting each other. This was enough to get Othello not to trust Cassio, who Iago then instructed to ask Desdemona to help. Iago cost Cassio both his job and pretended like he was helping him to try to get it back. He then went to Othello and confided in him that maybe his wife was cheating on him with Cassio, that since recently his wife had been showing favor to Cassio, maybe she was sleeping with him. Well, this entire scenario was fabricated by Iago. It was enough to sow the seeds of doubt in the mind of Othello. From there, Iago kept pushing Othello, watering that seed, making him distrust everyone but Iago. However, Othello wasn't a fool. While he was full of doubt, he still needed solid proof that his wife was cheating on him. Iago had planned for this, however. He was already in the midst of forging evidence. Iago had asked his wife Emilia to steal Desdemona's handkerchief, a gift Othello had given to her. Once acquiring it, she gave it to Iago, who then planted it in Cassio's bedchamber. Upon learning Cassio was in possession of said handkerchief, that was all the proof Othello needed to know that his wife was cheating on him. So with that, Othello and Iago made a vow to kill Desdemona and Cassio. At this point, Desdemona's fate was sealed, and by what? A few misunderstandings, a stolen handkerchief, and a total failure of communication on the part of Othello and Desdemona. All they needed to do was have an honest conversation, one opportunity to set the record straight, and this whole tragedy could have been avoided. But Othello had become consumed by jealousy, and Desdemona more docile, trying to act as the loving wife. Iago, meanwhile, attempted to orchestrate the death of Cassio. He provoked Rodrigo into attacking Cassio, and when Rodrigo failed, Iago was the one who struck Cassio in the leg. Afterwards, Iago killed Rodrigo in order to cover up his involvement in this whole affair. Meanwhile, after repeated attempts to learn the location of said handkerchief from Desdemona, Othello suffocated his wife in their bed. Amelia then came in and spelled out everything to Othello, that she was the one who took Desdemona's handkerchief, and she had given it to her husband. And while everyone else sees Iago as an honorable man, she knows the truth, that he's a liar and a crook. When Iago and Cassio arrived, Iago killed Amelia, his own wife, just to keep her from saying any more. But it's because of Amelia that we know the truth, what really happened. That Iago was in fact behind every terrible thing that had happened. He had been manipulating everyone from the start. After learning the truth, full of rage and regret, Othello stabbed Iago. However, the wound was not fatal, and Iago lived to see another day. Othello then took his own life, as the only way he could see to repent for his sins was in death. As we see so often in this show, murder is the unforgivable sin. As a result, the only way to atone is in death. Othello is no different. Time after time, men sacrifice themselves in an attempt to be forgiven, but they will never be forgiven, and it's only those who they leave behind that have to clean up the messes they created. So that leaves us with one final question. Why did Iago do it? Why did he trick Othello into a fit of jealousy? Why did he hate Othello and Cassio? And to that, there is no answer. We're unsure why Iago did it. His motives remain unclear. While there is evidence suggesting that he suspected Othello or Cassio of sleeping with his wife, nothing is certain. There is even speculation that Iago was in love with Othello, that he himself was acting out of jealousy. But nothing is set in stone, nothing is certain, and this is one mystery that will never be solved. Shakespearial is entirely funded by listeners and made possible thanks to the support of viewers like you. For more information or to listen to other episodes, you can go to Shakespearial.com. Thank you for listening.